So hello once again. It's 5th of January 2026, and I did not had the time to make a video yesterday. Well, I had a end-term practical exam, so I was preparing for it. But we are back again. But today is the Indian Express, and the first article we will be telling about is discussing about it. It Delhi tightrope walk on carcass, deep concern need for dialogue. As we all know, on the 3rd of January and 2nd of January, midnights of both, and in America did an operation on Venezuela to kidnap. If we had earlier, they kidnapped President Mucares, and I don't know what his name is. They ran on an operation of around 4 hours without any casualties. They brought back him on American soil just within 24 hours. So this article tells about that there is not any much ruckus between whole world. No country is condemning about it. Well, big ones are not going to condemn US. They are about, like India have issued a statement that there should be a discussion, a peace treaty, that all things will be cooled down with having a discussion on the table rather than using weapons. Also, France also told that they did not participate in any such type of events. They did also act on. They did not. They are on the way to talk their allies and have a discussion with. President McNeil said he will have a discussion with his allies and Donald Trump. But the main issue of the whole article was that they did not. Any nation did not condemn or threaten United States of America that they did an illegal thing. Yep, they did an illegal thing according to United Nations condemnation rules. Only nations that condemned this were Brazil, China, and Russia. And Russia was one of the first nation that told United States of America to return the Venezuelan president back again. And again, China was also one of them. Next article will be about PM India, Prime Minister India gearing up to host 2026. Well, we have most of you have must heard that we are going to bid for 2026 2036 Olympics, and it has already decided that the host city will be Ahmedabad in Gujarat, and we already know that we are going to host 2030 Commonwealth Games. It will be the 100th Commonwealth Games, and it will be hosted in 2030. Well, the article told about it. India is trying to increase sportsmanship in India. Well, there have been several schemes such as Khelo India and a national sports governance. In both of these, the government of India is supporting athletes with good potential to become a good player in their respective fields. As we have seen, Prime Minister told in the recent inauguration of volleyball championship in his constituency Varanasi through online conference that in recent past 20 years India have hosted more than 20 and 35 sports games, and not big ones, big events. So Indian government, it's really think Indian government is going to invest, is it really investing money in it, and the schemes provided by the current government of BJP, such as Khelo India and the National Sports Governance, and one is a Target Olympic Podium scheme, are transforming the sports ecosystem in India. So this was already out, and for the 2036 Olympic, the competitors such as are Turkey, France, Qatar, and Germany. Germany is also focusing to acquire bid for, because and it was to celebrate his 100th Olympic in 1936, which was hosted in Germany. And the next article will be a lesson from bid in rising farmers income. Well, this was a good article for me, but today's will be the article of the day. Why? Well, the article is by Ashok Gulati and Isham Lada. They are talking about how farmers can increase their incomes 6 to 7x. Well, there's average income in 1 hectare of a land is around 38,000 rupees, and it can be directly increased to 2 or 3 lakh rupees. How? Well, they told about a story of a village Beed in Maharashtra, where a organization named Mandi Gandhi, Mayank Gandhi organization named Christy Kul. They talk to the local farmers and told them to plant fruit-based trees and fruit-based trees rather than growing seasonal or regional uh, plants, food products. So they planted foods like crops like soybean and cotton to fruit crops. So they were the village was already uh, equipped. They used to plant soybean and cotton. Well, it's not in high demand now. The prices have become very low, and they told the local villagers to shift to the other crops such as papaya, custard apple, and sweet lime, guava, pomegranate, and mulberry, and many more. And most of did them, and as per the independent evaluation study by Tata Institute of Social Sciences in 2024, the per hectare income of farmer increased by more than 10 times, from 38,700 to 4,94,000, and it is within a short period of time. So it was a good story. We can, by this, government of India can learn, and ICMR also can work on it and take experience and inspire other farmers to how to increase their agricultural income to more than 5 to 6 times. And it was a good, well, what they did in there was, it was divided among 3 and 4 phases. In the first phase, they guided, and let me rephrase it again. In the first phase, they guided the farmers and gave them knowledge about what to do and what not to do. In the second phase, they handed the tree and plant saplings to the farmers at very low cost, and through multiple donations. The all these money come through multiple donations. One of the such donations was from Oswal Association, which they donated amount of 32 crores rupees, and a single tree sapling cost them around 15 to 20 rupees, which is very cheap and affordable to those farmers. And after that, in the third phase, they talked about how to plant trees and how should be the grid system and our water storage and water systems. And with this, they did a very wonderful job. So we can learn from this. In the fourth part, they told banks played a crucial role, because they provided a type of insurance to the farmers, because if they by chance they fail on their first trial, the bank will provide them support. So it was all this. And the next article will be CBM is in the end. It could be the start of a green story. It will be the second article I loved like this today on this newspaper. And as we all discussed on the 2nd of January about the CBM policy is going to be and where CBM policy, which is used by the European Union. In the CBM policy, any steel and iron ore, sorry, let me rephrase it again. Any steel and aluminums that going to be imported from other nation, there will be a tax, and tax will be based on the carbon emission they are going to be produced. So there is already a law in for the companies which are situated in European Union. They have to pay a carbon tax, a carbon in which they have to pay a certain amount equivalent to the number of CO2 they produce in for manufacturing these iron and aluminium. So through CBM, they will going to charge the imports in for a CO2. Let me freeze it again. So the CBM, the European Union, going to charge certain amount of tax on the per ton steel and aluminum that going to be imported in European Union, and it will base again on the carbon emission. So, and it is a very good act, because it will be going to reduce the carbon emission in manufacturing steel industries. And and it will be very important lesson for India, as we could discuss on that article, and also mentioned that in 2021, after the COVID hit, after the post COVID, India's sold around 3.5 billions of iron and steel to European Union, and it increased around in 2023 to 7.9 billion. But in 2024 it got decreased to 4.5. Well, it's again because of CBM, because in 2003 United Rubio started asking questions and started asking basic laws to the the companies who are going to export these iron and aluminum to European Union. They started asking how much carbon emission they produce. They started asking question of their factories, the level of product produces, and the type of fuels they use in their factories. So the lesson we should learn for is that we are going to be of there are going to be a decline in the number of and there are going to be a decline of number of steels and aluminum quantity, because most of Indian most of most of Indian let me rephrase it again, most of Indian steel industry and aluminum industry is based on uh, fuel energy, because there's not around any electrical system to produce this. And they're going to be a tough competition through Japan and South Korea, because they have collaborated and made their plants hydroelectric to around 8 gigawatt. And Indian government also doing it to work to reduce the carbon emission in this specific industry by uh, by a new policy India and name MMPTA 5 missions 5 million metric ton per annum. In this, in around at the end of the 2030, there should be around 100 gigawatts of hydroelectric supplies to these energy. But right now it's only 5 gigawatts. So they're going to be tough competition. So India's have to focus around it. What we really need to say that. And we have time, it's a very long time till 2020 30. I don't think so we'll be ready. We have touched the mark of 100 gigawatts, and we are going to face a very tough competition with the collaboration of South Korea and Japan. We have already situated and operated their hydroelectric gigawatts plants. So if we don't rapidly change our fuel based industry to hydro based, we are going to be phased out from the European Union market, and we're going to be a boom for the Indian steel industries. That's all for the Indian Express. Let's move to the Hindu. The only article that I got interested in the was the Indian Russian oil imports at 6-month high number. As we all know, and there are going to be a trade deal soon signed between India and America. And well, it's mostly because Russia imposed a 25% tariff on India by Trump administration. And also along with the 25 there was additional tariff of 25% for buying Russian oils, and for the cause of supporting the war of Russia Ukraine war. And but in August 2025 there was a request that India is starting to stop buying Russian fuel and going to shift to American and other OPEC fuel countries. But as a report come by Ministry of Imports and Cargos, that in around November end, uh, India imported highest India imported highest amount of highest imported of India imported highest amount of fuel in last 6 months. Well, it's true that in November it was around 34%. It also true that we also started buying American oils, which was around 3 to 4% regularly in any previous year. But around August and October it started increase to 6 and 7%. And in the month of November we bought around 13 to 14% American oil and 30 to 34% Russian oil, which is nearly the half of oil in India imported. So a big group. number, and it's really thought that America is, and why? Well, India has already posted their free. India had also increased the purchase and Russian oil imports. India has already, and the main thing is that India has already presented its final offer to the US, and the negotiators have done their what they could can. The officials said on the condition for anonymity and the sensitivity of the issue. Well, we have told everything. We have presented everything. We have decreased our act this in this, and we have the final presentation will already told where we going to be negotiate with this and this. It's all now on the US and their lawmakers what to do next, because US just want to enter our agriculture sector, and they want to supply their milk and agriculture sector products in India, which will going to harm our local population very, because we dependent around Indian population, and Indian population is directly dependent to 50 to 70, 50 to 65% to agriculture, and Indian sector can never compete with these high refined and bioengineered products. So that's well all about today. Well, I think I did speak good, but there was not any fluency and I did not articulate the topic very well. I have to practice a lot and well. There should be a consistency on it. I will try to maintain a consistency.
ChatGPT का
And
प्रीमियम एक साल का ले लिए
I think
ChatGPT का प्रीमियम
तो हम भी लिए ना
And
अरे
don't-
वो ना है
and don't
मेरे पास
think,
प्रीमियम है
and I will again
जो कि टीचर वाला है मेरे पास
and
टीचर है
again I will work on again the number of plants.
टीचर
Same.
का है कि तुम एक होता है कि शायद ऑफर है कोई देश में कि तुम टीचर हो तुम एक साथ में